All right, our next talk is More Than Just a Pretty Picture, Paleoart as a Tool to Teach Evolution by Adrienne Stroup from the Field Museum.
Going in a different direction now. The ordinary public cannot learn much by merely gazing at skeletons set up in museums. One longs to cover their nakedness with flesh and skin, to see them as they once were as they walked this earth. Henry Hutchinson, 1910. Historically, artists were essential in conveying accurate scientific illustrations for the scientific literature. But in the advent of photography, the need for accurate illustrations waned. However, in the field of paleontology, art is still a vital component in communicating new discoveries, explaining deep time to a general audience, crossing boundaries of language, art, and education. Since prehistoric animals are only known from their skeletons, footprints, and rarely soft tissue impressions, it's up to artists to flesh out these creatures, in a sense, bring them back to life. John Conrad Hansen was one of these artists. Little is known about his life, but we do know that he was born in 1869 and immigrated to America from Norway at the age of 12. He lived with his mother until her death. He was 59. His time at the Field Museum was a second career, which he started in 1940, at the age of 71. For 14 years, he created works for the museum's exhibit halls, such as this scene of a herd of Mesohippus, which accompanied the mounted Mesohippus skeleton until 1994. Horses have a fantastic representation in the fossil record. They were once an incredibly diverse group and are often used as a classic example of how evolution works. This genus of early horse lived about 30 to 40 million years ago, from the Middle Eocene to the early Oligocene in Western North America. They had 3 toes on each foot and low ground teeth, good for browsing on soft leaves. They were about the size of dogs. As the climate in North America changed from tropic to more arid, the American West looked more like the African savanna does today. What was happening at the Earth's time was echoed in Hansen's painting. In the distance of the scene, one can see a forest, but more prominent, the grasslands depicted in the foreground are quickly taking over the scene. And with this change, the horses adapted. The Mesohippus showed a prominent middle toe, which you can kind of see, which was better adapted to running across open lands, better than the earlier horses that had wider feet to scamper around the soft leaf litter of the forest. And though the fossil record can't tell us that the Mesohippus traveled in herds, like it's constructed in the painting, it's a logical assumption. Creating a plausible reconstruction often starts by referencing and observing behaviors of extant animals. It's a technique that many paleoartists use. So Hansen's work graced the halls of the Field Museum for decades, but now have been moved into flat file storage, kept in association with the paleontology, vertebrate paleo collections. As a paleoartist myself, it's an honor to house this and many of other Hansen's paintings in my office. Though some of his depictions are out of date, they are still historically significant. Paleoartists help document the evolution of paleontological discovery itself by trying to convey our current understanding of an extinct animal, plant, or an entire ecosystem. In an ironic twist, Hansen's deeply held religious beliefs in a 6,000-year-old Earth and the Great Flood didn't fit with the timeline of these extinct animals he so vividly brought back to life. In fact, he just referred to them as the objects. Even though Hansen was unable to accept this concept of evolution, his inspiring work is a testament to the fascinating history of life on Earth and the important facet in Field Museum's history.